Have you ever wondered how to stay calm in any challenging situation? Amid conflicts, work pressures, or everyday worries, is it possible to remain serene and centered? We can find guidance and inspiration in the lessons of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time and continues to help many people live happier and more fulfilling lives. Stoicism reminds us that the only thing we can truly control are our own thoughts and actions. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This quote emphasizes the importance of how we choose to respond to life's events, highlighting the power we have over our own perspective and attitude. In this video, we will explore 30 profound lessons from Stoicism that can help you achieve inner peace and mastery over your emotions. I invite you, friends, to watch this video until the end. Your journey of self-transformation begins now. Practicing indifference to provocations. Practicing indifference to provocations is a powerful Stoic strategy for maintaining inner peace and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. This means not allowing the provocative words or actions of others to affect your inner tranquility. Instead of reacting impulsively or with anger, the Stoic person chooses to remain calm and serene, maintaining control over their own emotions. This approach is aligned with the Stoic principle of focusing on what is under our control. While we cannot control the actions or words of others, we can control how we choose to react to them. Epictetus, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers, said, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our interpretations of them." By practicing indifference to provocations, we are exercising this principle, choosing not to be disturbed by external things over which we have no control. This allows us to maintain calmness and mental clarity, enabling us to deal with the situation more effectively and constructively. By practicing indifference, we strengthen our emotional resilience and our ability to stand firm in the face of adversity. Instead of allowing provocations to shake us, we choose to cultivate an attitude of equanimity and inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. Indifference to provocations allows us to maintain control over our own emotions, cultivate inner peace, and deal with life's challenges in a more tranquil and serene manner. Cultivating serenity in the face of adversity. Cultivating serenity in the face of adversity is a fundamental practice in Stoicism. This involves developing a calm and tranquil mindset, even when confronted with significant challenges or difficulties. The Stoics believed that the secret to achieving serenity lies in recognizing that we cannot always control external circumstances, but we can control our own reactions to them. Epictetus wrote, "Adversity is the training of a noble spirit, which is not shaken by fear, evasions, and yearnings, but by discernment and self-control." This means that instead of allowing adversities to overpower us, we should seek within ourselves the strength and wisdom to face them with calmness and courage. Imagine a rock in the middle of a stormy sea. Just as the rock remains firm and unshaken amidst the furious waves, cultivating serenity allows us to stay grounded and stable, regardless of life's storms. Instead of being swept away by the winds of change or the tides of fate, we choose to remain anchored in our own inner serenity. Cultivating serenity in the face of adversity does not mean denying or ignoring the difficulties we face. On the contrary, it means accepting these hardships with courage and resignation, acknowledging that they are an inevitable part of the human experience. By doing so, we are able to confront life's challenges with dignity and grace, finding strength and growth even in the most difficult circumstances. In cultivating serenity in the face of adversity, we are following the example of the Stoics, seeking to find inner peace and strength even in the most challenging situations. This practice allows us to live with wisdom and courage, facing life's adversities with serenity and determination. Maintaining calm in conflict situations. Maintaining calm in conflict situations is a valuable skill, especially in the Stoic context, where emotional control is fundamental to a virtuous life. This implies not allowing emotions to dominate our actions and thoughts, even when faced with challenging circumstances. The Stoics emphasize the importance of maintaining calmness, even in provocative situations or direct confrontations. Seneca wrote, "Anger is the most dangerous madness, it is the only passion that leaves us without judgment." This means that giving in to anger or resentment in a conflict situation only exacerbates the problem, rather than resolving it. Imagine a serene lake reflecting the clear sky. Just as the lake remains calm and undisturbed, even when stirred by strong winds, cultivating calmness allows us to stay centered and balanced, regardless of external circumstances. Maintaining calm in conflict situations does not mean avoiding confrontations or denying our legitimate feelings. On the contrary, it means addressing conflicts with a clear mind and a serene attitude, seeking peaceful and constructive solutions instead of acting impulsively or reacting with anger. By practicing calmness in conflict situations, we are following the example of the Stoics, cultivating the virtue of temperance and seeking to act with wisdom and equanimity, even in the face of the most challenging situations. This practice allows us to confront life's conflicts with dignity and grace, finding peaceful and constructive solutions to the challenges we encounter. Avoiding nurturing resentments. Avoiding nurturing resentments is a powerful strategy in the Stoic arsenal for dealing with enemies without directly fighting them. Stoics recognize that resentment only poisons the mind of the one who harbors it, harming inner peace and serenity. By choosing not to nurture resentments, we are following the advice of Marcus Aurelius, who said, "How destructive it is, when the most valuable asset you have, your time, is wasted on someone who hates you, or on anything you hate." This quote reminds us that resentment consumes our mental and emotional energy, diverting it from more constructive activities and relationships. Imagine a fire that consumes everything in its path. When we nurture resentments, we are feeding that fire, allowing it to grow and consume our thoughts and emotions. However, by choosing not to feed resentment, we are depriving this fire of the fuel it needs to continue burning, allowing it to gradually extinguish. By avoiding nurturing resentments, we are cultivating the virtue of patience and compassion, allowing ourselves to release the emotional weight of the past and move forward with clarity and freedom. This doesn't mean ignoring injustices or allowing others to mistreat us, but rather choosing not to let others' behavior affect our inner peace and happiness. Focusing on one's own journey and personal growth. Focusing on one's own journey and personal growth is a Stoic way of disarming one's enemies without needing to directly fight them. Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what is under our control, and this includes our personal development and pursuit of excellence. By directing our energy towards our own journey and growth, we are not only strengthening ourselves internally but also shifting attention away from potential conflicts or confrontations with our enemies. This is because, instead of wasting energy and time on fruitless conflicts, we are investing these precious resources in our own improvement and evolution. This approach also reflects the Stoic principle of accepting the present moment. As Epictetus said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" Rather than excessively worrying about the actions of our enemies, we can choose to focus on our own progress and the cultivation of virtues such as courage, wisdom, and temperance. To illustrate the power of focusing on one's own journey, imagine a traveler who is on a journey to reach the top of a mountain. During his journey, he encounters many obstacles and adversaries who try to prevent him from reaching his goal. However, instead of engaging in conflicts with these adversaries, the traveler chooses to focus his energy on climbing the mountain, keeping his eyes on the final goal. By focusing on one's own journey and personal growth, we are adopting a proactive and constructive approach to dealing with conflicts and challenges. We are choosing not to be distracted by those who may try to harm us, but rather to move forward with determination towards our goals and higher aspirations. Being humble and avoiding pride and arrogance. Being humble and avoiding pride and arrogance is a powerful strategy in the Stoic arsenal for disarming your enemies without fighting them. Humility is a fundamental virtue in Stoicism, as it helps us recognize our own limitations and understand that we are not superior to others. By practicing humility, we do not feed the pride or arrogance that can provoke resentment and hostility in our enemies. Instead, we demonstrate respect and consideration for everyone, regardless of their position or status. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized the importance of humility when he said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This quote highlights the need to maintain an open and receptive mind, recognizing that there is always something new to learn and improve upon. Just like the stream that follows its course without boasting of its strength or importance, we can choose to flow through life with humility, without boasting of our achievements or abilities. This humility allows us to avoid unnecessary conflicts and maintain harmonious relationships with those around us. By being humble, we are sending a clear message to our enemies that we do not wish to compete or prove our superiority over them. Instead, we choose to follow the path of peace and serenity, cultivating an atmosphere of mutual respect and cooperation. Not retaliating aggression with more aggression. Not retaliating aggression with more aggression is a wise and powerful strategy for dealing with enemies without engaging in direct confrontation. In Stoicism, this approach reflects the virtue of temperance, which teaches us to control our emotions and act with calmness and rationality, even in the face of provocations. By choosing not to respond to aggression with more aggression, we are practicing the art of maintaining serenity and inner balance, regardless of external circumstances. This demonstrates our inner strength and our ability to resist the temptation to be drawn into the cycle of conflict and retaliation. Just as the rock remains firm and unshaken in the face of storms, we can choose to remain calm and unshaken in the face of our enemies' provocations. By maintaining our composure and not giving in to the impulse to respond with anger or violence, we demonstrate our moral superiority and our ability to transcend adversities. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, anger, even when justified, often blinds us and leads us to make mistakes. This quote warns us of the dangers of succumbing to anger and impulsiveness, which only serve to inflame conflicts further and lead us to commit acts that we may later regret. By choosing not to retaliate aggression with more aggression, we are sending a powerful message to our enemies that we are capable of transcending petty disputes and seeking peaceful and constructive solutions to resolve our differences. This approach allows us to maintain inner peace and cultivate healthy and harmonious relationships with those around us. Cultivating patience in all situations. Cultivating patience in all situations is a fundamental skill for dealing with enemies without engaging in direct conflict. In Stoicism, patience is seen as a virtue that allows us to endure difficulties and setbacks with calmness and tranquility, without giving in to despair or anger. By practicing patience, we exercise our ability to maintain serenity even in adverse circumstances. Instead of reacting impulsively to our enemy's provocations, we choose to adopt a stance of tolerance and understanding, recognizing that adversities are part of the human journey. Imagine patience as a sturdy and robust tree that withstands strong winds and storms without bending. Just as the tree remains unshaken in the face of adversities, we can choose to cultivate patience to confront challenges with tranquility and determination. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, patience is the remedy for every trouble. This quote emphasizes the importance of patience as a powerful tool for overcoming difficulties and resolving conflicts constructively. By practicing patience, we not only strengthen our own resilience but also send a message to our enemies that we are capable of facing challenges with calmness and dignity. By cultivating patience, we exercise our ability to act with wisdom and discernment, rather than being swayed by impulsivity and emotion. This allows us to make more considered and strategic decisions, contributing to resolving conflicts peacefully and harmoniously. Patience in all situations is an effective way to deal with enemies without engaging in direct confrontation, allowing us to maintain calmness and serenity even in the face of intense provocations. Practicing gratitude instead of nurturing negative feelings. Practicing gratitude instead of nurturing negative feelings is a powerful Stoic strategy for dealing with enemies without engaging in direct conflict. At the heart of this practice is the recognition and appreciation of the good things in our lives, even amidst adversities or challenges. By cultivating gratitude, we direct our attention to what brings us joy, contentment, and satisfaction, instead of focusing on the negative aspects or the provocations of our enemies. This does not mean ignoring or minimizing the challenges we face, but rather adopting a more balanced and positive perspective on life. A metaphor for the practice of gratitude is the image of a carefully cultivated garden, where each flower represents a positive aspect of our lives. By watering and nurturing these flowers of gratitude, we strengthen our ability to find joy and meaning even amidst difficulties. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This quote highlights the importance of cultivating an attitude of gratitude and acceptance towards life circumstances, regardless of the challenges or setbacks we may face. By practicing gratitude, we exercise our ability to maintain serenity and emotional balance even in the face of our enemies' provocations. Instead of succumbing to anger or resentment, we choose to focus our energy and attention on what brings us happiness and fulfillment. Gratitude contributes to creating a solid foundation of emotional resilience, allowing us to face challenges with courage and determination. This helps us avoid falling into the trap of negativity and find creative and constructive solutions to resolve conflicts peacefully and harmoniously. Practicing gratitude instead of nurturing negative feelings is an effective way to deal with enemies without engaging in direct confrontation, allowing us to maintain calmness and serenity even in the face of the most difficult adversities. Taking criticism as learning opportunities. Taking criticism as learning opportunities is a wise strategy from Stoicism to deal with enemies without needing to engage in direct confrontation. Instead of reacting defensively or retaliating, we choose to approach criticism with an open and receptive mind, seeking to extract valuable lessons even from the most challenging situations. This approach reflects the ability to turn adversities into opportunities for personal growth and development. Rather than viewing them as personal attacks, criticisms are seen as sources of constructive feedback that help us identify areas where we can improve and grow. Just as a sculptor shapes a rough piece of marble to create a work of art, we can use criticisms as chisels that help us refine and perfect ourselves. Each criticism received represents an opportunity for refinement and evolution, helping us become better versions of ourselves. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, criticism, if rightly performed, is an expression of love. This quote highlights the idea that criticism, when done constructively and with good intentions, can be a sign of concern and care from the critic, aiming at our growth and development. Adopting a stance of receptivity to criticisms, we are exercising the virtues of humility and self-criticism, recognizing that there is always room for improvement and learning in our lives. Moreover, we are demonstrating an attitude of respect and gratitude for the perspective and feedback of others, even if they may initially seem challenging or uncomfortable. Seeking peaceful conflict resolution. Seeking peaceful conflict resolution is a wise and stoic strategy for dealing with adversaries without engaging in direct confrontation. Instead of resorting to violence or retaliation, we choose to approach conflicts calmly, reasonably, and diplomatically, seeking solutions that promote harmony and mutual understanding. This approach reflects the virtue of temperance and self-control, as it requires us to control our emotions and impulses to respond rationally and peacefully, even in challenging situations. Instead of allowing emotions to dominate our actions, we opt to act with serenity and equanimity, keeping a clear mind focused on finding constructive solutions. Just as the tranquil waters of the sea can smooth out differences and conflicts, we can seek a peaceful and conciliatory approach to resolve our disputes and misunderstandings. Instead of stirring up waves of discord and hostility, we choose to create an atmosphere of calm and peace, where differences can be resolved amicably and constructively. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen more and speak less." This quote emphasizes the importance of listening attentively to others' viewpoints and seeking to understand their perspectives before trying to impose our own opinions. By practicing active listening and empathy, we can make room for dialogue and negotiation, facilitating peaceful conflict resolution. Seeking peaceful conflict resolution, we are exercising the virtues of wisdom and prudence, recognizing that violence and aggression rarely bring positive long-term results. Instead, we choose to follow the path of peace and cooperation, building stronger and more lasting relationships with our adversaries and creating an environment of mutual respect and understanding. Maintaining integrity and honesty in all actions. Maintaining integrity and honesty in all actions is a powerful strategy for facing enemies without needing to engage in direct confrontation. When we act with integrity, we are cultivating a reputation for reliability and transparency, which can undermine our adversaries' attempts to discredit or demoralize us. This approach reflects the fundamental values of Stoicism, which emphasizes the importance of living according to our ethical principles, even in the face of external provocations or pressures. By keeping our integrity intact, we are demonstrating inner strength and self-control, refusing to compromise our values for momentary advantages or personal gains. Just as a rock stands firm and unshakable amid storms, we too can remain steadfast in our ethical and moral principles, regardless of external circumstances. Instead of succumbing to pressure or the temptation to act dishonestly, we choose to remain true to our values, even when it's difficult. The Stoic philosopher Seneca reminds us, "A man of honor needs no guarantee of an oath." This quote highlights the importance of honesty and integrity in our actions, suggesting that those who live by their principles do not need to resort to oaths or promises to be considered trustworthy. By acting with integrity, we are building a solid and enduring reputation based on trust and mutual respect. Maintaining integrity and honesty in all our actions, we are exercising the virtue of moral courage and personal dignity, showing the world that we are worthy of trust and respect, even in the face of adversity. This stance not only protects us against our enemies' attempts to defame or discredit us but also allows us to hold our heads high and our hearts calm, knowing that we are acting in accordance with our deepest and noblest values. Not allowing others' words to shake your inner peace. Not allowing others' words to shake our inner peace is an effective strategy to neutralize verbal attacks from our enemies without being drawn into emotional conflict. In Stoicism, this approach aligns with the principle of recognizing what is under our control and what is not. We can control our own reactions and choose not to be affected by others' malicious or provocative comments. Imagine yourself as an impenetrable fortress. The words hurled by others are like arrows that hit the stone walls surrounding you, unable to penetrate or cause harm. Instead of allowing these words to emotionally affect you, you observe them with serenity and detachment, recognizing that they have no power to disturb your inner peace unless you allow them to. This approach is underscored by Epictetus, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, when he reminds us, "Things themselves don't hurt us. Our interpretation of those things is what hurts us." This quote highlights the importance of how we interpret and react to others' words and actions. By choosing to interpret these words calmly and equanimously, we can remain undisturbed in the face of adversity. Maintaining our inner peace in the face of others' words, we are not only exercising our capacity for self-control and self-discipline but also demonstrating our inner strength and emotional resilience. Instead of engaging in verbal confrontation or retaliating with more sharp words, we choose to remain calm and centered, refusing to allow other people's behavior to disturb us or throw us off balance. This practice allows us to face our enemies with dignity and composure, without being swayed by anger or resentment. By maintaining our inner peace, we are cultivating an inner strength that protects us against verbal attacks and allows us to stand firm in our principles and values, regardless of external provocations. Acting with kindness and compassion. Acting with kindness and compassion even in the face of hostility is a powerful way to neutralize enemies without engaging in direct conflict. In Stoicism, this approach reflects the principles of virtue and equanimity, teaching us to act with benevolence and compassion regardless of external circumstances. Imagine yourself as an oasis of serenity amidst a barren desert of hostility. Instead of retaliating with more hostility or nurturing resentments, you offer kindness and compassion as a source of relief and comfort to those immersed in negativity. Your kind actions are like a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day, dissipating the darkness and bringing warmth and light to everyone around you. This approach is echoed by the words of Marcus Aurelius, who reminds us, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." By acting with kindness and compassion even in the face of hostility, you are refusing to stoop to the level of your enemies. Instead, you are rising above the conflict, demonstrating your inner strength and your ability to act with dignity and nobility regardless of circumstances. This practice not only neutralizes the hostility of your enemies but also creates an atmosphere of harmony and mutual respect. By choosing to respond to aggression with kindness and compassion, you are promoting peace and reconciliation instead of perpetuating the cycle of violence and conflict. Moreover, you are cultivating virtues such as kindness and generosity, which are inherently rewarding and enriching for your own life. By acting with kindness and compassion in the face of hostility, you not only protect yourself against the attacks of your enemies but also transform conflict into an opportunity to promote well-being and harmony, both for yourself and for others. Practicing forgiveness and releasing the burden of resentment. Practicing forgiveness is one of the most powerful ways to destroy your enemies without fighting them. In Stoicism, forgiveness is seen as a virtue that frees both the forgiver and the forgiven from the burden of resentment and bitterness. Imagine forgiveness as an anchor that you release, freeing yourself from the chains of resentment that keep you tied to the past. Instead of carrying the weight of past grievances, you choose to let go of those anchors and move forward with lightness and freedom. This approach reflects the Stoic principle of indifference to provocations, which teaches us not to allow the actions of others to affect our inner peace. By forgiving those who have harmed us, we are choosing not to let their behavior negatively affect us. As Seneca said, anger, if not controlled, is often more harmful than the injustice that caused it. By practicing forgiveness, we are choosing not to let anger and resentment consume us. Instead, we are choosing to move forward with compassion and understanding, both for ourselves and for others. By practicing forgiveness, we are breaking the cycle of violence and resentment. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is a constant attitude. By choosing to forgive, we are promoting reconciliation and healing instead of perpetuating the cycle of conflict and revenge. Forgiveness is a powerful way to destroy your enemies without fighting them. By releasing the burden of resentment, you are choosing to move forward with lightness and freedom, promoting peace and reconciliation instead of perpetuating the cycle of violence and conflict. Valuing self-control in challenging situations. Valuing self-control in challenging situations is a wise strategy to destroy your enemies without fighting them. In Stoicism, self-control is considered a fundamental virtue that allows us to face adversity with calmness and equanimity. Imagine self-control as the rudder of a ship in the midst of a storm. While furious waves attempt to pull the ship off course, the rudder remains firm, allowing the captain to steer the vessel with skill and determination. Similarly, in challenging situations, self-control allows us to maintain the course of our actions and decisions, even amidst the most turbulent circumstances. This approach reflects the Stoic principle of resilience, which teaches us to confront adversity with courage and determination. By valuing self-control, we choose not to let emotions overpower us but instead to remain calm and clear-headed to make thoughtful and conscious decisions. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By practicing self-control, we choose not to react impulsively to challenging situations, but rather to respond with serenity and wisdom. In doing so, we avoid fueling unnecessary conflicts and become less vulnerable to our enemies' manipulations. Valuing self-control, we demonstrate our inner strength and our ability to face any challenge that life presents us. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength within. Valuing self-control in challenging situations is an effective way to destroy your enemies without fighting them. By maintaining calmness and clarity in the face of adversity, you demonstrate your inner strength and your ability to overcome any obstacle with courage and determination. Focusing on what is under our control. Focusing on what is under our control and letting go of what is not is a fundamental strategy to destroy our enemies without fighting them, as taught by Stoicism. Imagine life as a powerful river, with unpredictable currents and insurmountable obstacles. Trying to fight the currents or move the obstacles would only result in fatigue and frustration. However, by focusing our efforts on what we can control, such as our own actions, thoughts, and emotions, we can skillfully navigate the turbulent waters of life. This approach reflects the Stoic principle of acceptance of the present moment and serenity in the face of adversity. By recognizing and accepting that not everything is under our control, we can find inner peace and balance, even in the most challenging situations. As Epictetus said, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will or our choice. By focusing on what is under our control, we are following this wise advice and freeing ourselves from the weight of unnecessary worries and anxieties. Letting go of what is not under our control, we conserve our energy and resources to face the challenges we can influence. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. By internalizing this truth, we can direct our energy towards what truly matters, instead of wasting it on unproductive concerns. Focusing on what is under our control and letting go of what is not is a powerful strategy to destroy our enemies without fighting them. By cultivating this Stoic mindset, we can find inner peace and strength to face any challenge that life presents us. Using reason and logic to resolve conflicts. Using reason and logic to resolve conflicts is a fundamental approach of Stoicism for dealing with adversities and interpersonal challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively to conflicting situations, Stoics recommend using reason to find peaceful and equitable solutions. Let's imagine a situation where two coworkers have a dispute over the division of responsibilities on a project. Instead of letting emotions dominate the situation, they can resort to reason and logic to find a mutually beneficial solution. They can objectively analyze the project's demands, assess their own skills and limitations, and reach an agreement based on fair and objective principles. This approach reflects the Stoic principles of self-discipline and self-control. By exercising reason and logic, individuals can transcend their momentary emotions and act according to their higher values and principles. As Epictetus said, seek not that things happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will have peace. This quote emphasizes the importance of accepting reality and acting based on reason, rather than trying to impose our will on others. Using reason and logic to resolve conflicts also promotes personal growth and the development of effective communication skills. By learning to articulate their arguments clearly and persuasively, individuals can build stronger and more collaborative relationships. Using reason and logic to resolve conflicts is a powerful strategy to destroy enemies without fighting them. By acting calmly, rationally, and equitably, Stoics teach us to transform conflicts into opportunities for growth and mutual learning. Learning from mistakes and moving forward without holding grudge. Learning from mistakes and moving forward without holding grudges is a Stoic practice that allows us to grow and evolve, even in challenging situations or interpersonal conflicts. Instead of being stuck in the past or harboring resentments, Stoics teach us to see mistakes as learning opportunities and to release the emotional burden of grudges. Imagine an individual who faced deep disappointment after trusting someone who betrayed them. Instead of allowing that betrayal to consume them with feelings of resentment and bitterness, they decide to apply Stoic principles in their life. They acknowledge the mistake of blindly trusting someone without properly assessing their reliability. Instead of dwelling on the past, they commit to learning from this experience and moving forward with wisdom and discernment. This approach reflects the Stoic principle of emotional resilience and acceptance of what is beyond our control. Instead of lamenting what cannot be changed, they focus their energy on what is within their control, their ability to learn, grow, and become a better person. As Marcus Aurelius said, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. This quote highlights the importance of valuing the present and not allowing past grievances to hinder our appreciation for life. Learning from mistakes and moving forward without holding grudges, we can cultivate a mindset of growth and resilience. Instead of being sources of pain and suffering, adversities become opportunities to strengthen our determination and develop our inner wisdom. Thus, by practicing this Stoic lesson, we can destroy our enemies without fighting them, as we free ourselves from the cycle of resentment and become stronger and wiser as a result. Not allowing oneself to be consumed by anger or hatred. Not allowing oneself to be consumed by anger or hatred is one of the most powerful lessons of Stoicism. Stoics teach us to cultivate inner tranquility and mental serenity, even in the face of the most challenging situations. Instead of reacting impulsively to negative emotions, they encourage us to exercise control over our thoughts and feelings. Imagine someone confronted with a serious injustice, a situation that could easily trigger anger and hatred. Instead of succumbing to these destructive emotions, this person decides to apply Stoic principles in their life. They remember the words of Seneca, "The wise man is never in conflict with anyone, whether among friends or enemies, for he is a friend of all good things and an enemy of bad things." This quote highlights the importance of cultivating a serene and balanced mind, regardless of external circumstances. Instead of allowing anger or hatred to consume them, they choose the path of compassion and understanding. They recognize that anger only perpetuates the cycle of negativity and conflict, while calmness and compassion have the power to transform even the most adverse situations. Practicing non-reaction to anger or hatred, they free themselves from the emotional burden of these toxic emotions and find inner peace. They realize that true strength lies in the ability to control one's own mind and to respond to situations with wisdom and equanimity. Thus, by following this Stoic lesson, they are able to destroy their enemies without fighting them, as they transcend the pitfalls of anger and hatred, finding an inner peace that no external adversity can disturb. Cultivating healthy and positive relationships. Cultivating healthy and positive relationships is a valuable lesson from Stoicism that reminds us of the importance of carefully choosing who we surround ourselves with and how we relate to others. Stoics teach us that relationships are fundamental to our emotional and mental well-being, and that we should seek connections based on virtue, sincerity, and mutual respect. Imagine someone actively practicing this Stoic lesson in their life. This person seeks to surround themselves with individuals who share the same values and principles and who encourage them to grow and become a better version of themselves. They dedicate themselves to nurturing relationships based on trust, empathy, and reciprocity, where there is room for mutual support and growth. This person recognizes that toxic relationships can undermine their inner peace and emotional well-being. They distance themselves from people who emotionally drain them, who are negative, or who do not contribute to their personal growth. In doing so, they protect their energy and mental health, prioritizing their own happiness and well-being. At the same time, they invest time and effort in strengthening positive relationships in their life. They are committed to building genuine and meaningful bonds with friends, family, and colleagues, cultivating a support network that sustains them in difficult times and celebrates with them in moments of joy. This Stoic practice of cultivating healthy and positive relationships is grounded in the virtue of kindness and compassion. They recognize that by nurturing meaningful connections with others, they enrich their own lives and contribute to collective well-being. As Epictetus said, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This quote highlights the importance of cultivating authentic and meaningful relationships, where words are backed by consistent actions of kindness and mutual respect. Following this Stoic lesson, this person builds relationships that are sources of support, inspiration, and growth, strengthening their emotional resilience and their ability to face life's challenges with serenity and gratitude. Seeking inner peace instead of seeking revenge. Seeking inner peace instead of seeking revenge is one of the most powerful lessons of Stoicism. It involves letting go of the desire to retaliate or inflict pain on those who have wronged us, and instead focusing on finding tranquility and balance within ourselves. Imagine someone actively practicing this Stoic lesson in their life. This person faces difficult and unjust situations with unwavering serenity, refusing to be dragged into the cycle of hatred and resentment. Instead, they strive to understand and accept the circumstances, focusing on finding constructive ways to deal with them. This person recognizes that seeking revenge only feeds an endless cycle of conflict and suffering, and they consciously choose to take a different path. They practice empathy and compassion, seeking to understand the motivations and experiences of others, even when they are adversaries. Choosing to seek inner peace instead of revenge, this person finds a deep and lasting freedom. They are no longer bound by the weight of resentment or the need for retribution. Instead, they experience a sense of lightness and serenity, knowing that they are in control of their own emotions and actions. This Stoic practice of seeking inner peace is grounded in the virtue of temperance and self-discipline. They recognize that by cultivating calmness and serenity within themselves, they become more resilient in the face of challenges and better able to confront difficulties with dignity and courage. As Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, Think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. This quote highlights the importance of cultivating a mindset of gratitude and appreciation for life, rather than being consumed by the desire for revenge or resentment. By following this Stoic lesson, this person finds a lasting inner peace that empowers them to live with integrity, compassion, and understanding, regardless of external circumstances. Practicing understanding and tolerance. Practicing understanding and tolerance with others is one of the cornerstones of Stoicism. It involves cultivating a compassionate view of the people around us, recognizing that each individual faces their own battles and challenges in life. Imagine someone who embraces this Stoic lesson on their journey. This person understands that everyone has their own experiences, traumas, and perspectives that shape their actions and behaviors. Instead of quickly judging others, they strive to understand the context behind their actions and reactions. This person practices empathy, putting themselves in the shoes of others and trying to see the world through their eyes. They recognize that, just like themselves, everyone is navigating the complexities of human existence, dealing with challenges, fears, and hopes. Practicing understanding and tolerance, this person learns not to be carried away by anger or hasty judgment. Instead, they seek to find points of connection and understanding with others, even when their opinions or actions differ from their own. This Stoic practice is rooted in the virtue of wisdom, which encourages us to seek a deeper understanding of human nature and the complexities of life. By adopting a more compassionate and tolerant view, this person finds greater harmony within themselves and with the world around them. As Epictetus said, the first task of philosophy is to send things back to the emptiness. This quote reminds us of the importance of not being carried away by our first impressions or prejudices, but rather to seek a more complete and compassionate understanding of the people and situations around us. Practicing understanding and tolerance, this person becomes a source of calmness and compassion in the world, promoting harmony and understanding in their interactions with others. Avoiding feeding negative or destructive thoughts. Avoiding feeding negative or destructive thoughts is a fundamental practice in Stoicism, as it recognizes that our inner peace is shaped not only by external events but also by how we interpret and react to those events. Imagine someone who adopts this Stoic lesson in their life. This person realizes that negative thoughts can create a vicious cycle of anxiety, stress, and discouragement, undermining their ability to face challenges with calmness and clarity. This person practices mental vigilance, carefully observing their thoughts and feelings and identifying harmful patterns. When they notice negative thoughts arising, they examine them objectively and strive to challenge them with rationality and logic. Instead of being carried away by the downward spiral of negative thoughts, this person seeks to replace them with more constructive and realistic thoughts. They remember that, while they cannot control all external events, they can choose how to interpret and respond to them. This Stoic practice is rooted in the virtue of wisdom, which encourages us to cultivate a calm and balanced mind, even in the face of adversity. By avoiding feeding negative or destructive thoughts, this person strengthens their emotional resilience and their ability to confront challenges with courage and determination. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." This quote reminds us that feeding negative or destructive thoughts brings no real benefits and can actually harm us further. By choosing to cultivate positive and constructive thoughts, we can find greater inner peace and contentment in our lives. Avoiding feeding negative or destructive thoughts, this person becomes more resilient, calm, and confident in the face of life's vicissitudes, finding greater harmony within themselves and with the world around them. Prioritizing one's own well-being and happiness instead of excessively worrying about others. Prioritizing one's own well-being and happiness instead of excessively worrying about others is a valuable lesson from Stoicism. This does not mean being selfish or insensitive to others' needs, but rather recognizing that we cannot control others' emotional states or choices. Instead, we can focus on cultivating our own inner peace and contentment, regardless of external circumstances. Imagine someone who practices this Stoic lesson in their life. This person understands that, while it is important to help and support others, it is also essential to take care of themselves. They recognize that they cannot control others' choices or happiness, but they can control their own actions and attitudes. This person seeks a healthy balance between taking care of themselves and offering support to others. They practice self-love and self-care, setting aside time for activities that make them feel good and recharge their energy. They also establish healthy boundaries in their relationships, protecting their own inner peace and avoiding becoming overwhelmed with excessive worries about others. Prioritizing their own well-being and happiness, this person becomes more resilient and capable of dealing with life's challenges with serenity and confidence. They understand that, by taking care of themselves, they are also in a better position to help others in a meaningful and sustainable way. This Stoic practice is aligned with the principle of self-sufficiency, which reminds us of the importance of cultivating an internal source of happiness and contentment, rather than relying solely on external circumstances. By prioritizing their own well-being and happiness, this person follows Epictetus' advice: do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to, rather, wish that what happens happens the way it happens, and you will have a tranquil journey. By prioritizing their own well-being and happiness instead of excessively worrying about others, this person finds greater harmony within themselves and with the world around them, enjoying a more balanced, authentic, and satisfying life. Developing self-confidence and self-esteem to not be shaken by criticism. Developing self-confidence and self-esteem is an important lesson from Stoicism that helps us not to be shaken by criticism. This involves cultivating a solid understanding of our own worth and abilities, regardless of what others may say or think about us. Imagine someone who practices this lesson in their life. This person recognizes that criticism is inevitable and that we cannot always please everyone. However, instead of letting criticism undermine their self-esteem, they see it as opportunities for learning and growth. This person understands that their self-confidence should not be shaken by others' opinions because they know who they are and what they are capable of achieving. They trust in their abilities and their capacity to deal with challenges, even when facing criticism or negative judgments. Instead of being swayed by criticism, this person uses it as a tool for self-improvement. They reflect on the feedback received, identify areas where they can improve, and work to become the best version of themselves. This does not mean they completely ignore criticism but rather use it constructively to drive their personal and professional growth. This Stoic practice is aligned with the principle of self-discipline, which reminds us of the importance of cultivating a strong and resilient mind that is not easily shaken by difficulties. By developing self-confidence and self-esteem, this person follows the advice of Marcus Aurelius: do not let your mind wander in fear. Be firm, and rid yourself of external agitation. What you fear never happens. What your mind creates is what you create. Developing self-confidence and self-esteem to not be shaken by criticism, this person strengthens their emotional resilience and finds greater inner peace, even in the face of life's challenges and adversities. Focusing on one's own goals and objectives instead of worrying about others. Focusing on one's own goals and objectives instead of worrying about others is a valuable lesson from Stoicism that helps us stay on our life journey without being distracted by others' expectations. Imagine someone who practices this lesson in their life. This person recognizes that each individual has their own path to walk and their own aspirations to achieve. Instead of constantly comparing themselves to others or worrying about what others are doing, they direct their energy towards their own goals and objectives. This person understands that true fulfillment comes from within and does not depend on external validation. They know that by focusing on their own goals, they are investing in their personal growth and lasting happiness. This does not mean they are selfish or insensitive to others' needs, but rather that they recognize the importance of taking care of themselves before they can effectively help others. Practicing this lesson, this person follows Epictetus' advice, who said, do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will be happy. They accept that they will not always have control over external circumstances but can choose how to react to them and direct their focus to what truly matters, their own journey of growth and self-improvement. Focusing on one's own goals and objectives, this person strengthens their determination, discipline, and resilience, creating a solid foundation for success and personal fulfillment. Cultivating wisdom to deal with life's challenges in a calm and serene manner. Cultivating wisdom to deal with life's challenges in a calm and serene manner is one of the fundamental lessons of Stoicism. This involves developing a resilient mindset and an equitable perspective in the face of adversity. Imagine someone who practices this lesson in their life. This person understands that challenges are part of the human journey and that it is impossible to completely avoid difficulties. However, instead of being consumed by stress and worry, they adopt an attitude of calm and serenity in the face of adverse circumstances. This person draws inspiration from Marcus Aurelius' quote, "Do not dwell in the past, do not worry about the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." They understand that excessive concern with the past or the future only serves to cloud the present and undermine their inner peace. Instead, they focus on fully living the present moment, dealing with challenges as they arise, with wisdom and determination. Cultivating this wisdom, this person develops the ability to assess situations with clarity and objectivity. They recognize that not all battles deserve their energy and that some adversities can be overcome with patience and acceptance. This person also learns from Stoic philosophy to distinguish between what is under their control and what is not. They focus on acting wisely on things they can influence while serenely accepting those that are beyond their power to change. Cultivating wisdom to deal with life's challenges in a calm and serene manner, this person strengthens their emotional resilience, their ability to face adversities, and their inner peace, thus finding a more balanced and satisfying path through life. In this journey, we explore 30 lessons from Stoicism that offer valuable guidance to remain calm in any situation. These teachings remind us of the importance of cultivating serenity, resilience, and acceptance in the face of life's adversities. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The true happiness is to live in peace with oneself." This quote highlights that the true source of contentment lies within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. My friends, I invite you to join this community, where we seek a deeper understanding and ever-growing wisdom. By sharing our thoughts and experiences, we strengthen the foundations of our collective development. It is through open dialogue and the exchange of ideas that we enrich our journey of self-awareness and personal growth.